I'm Ron Henderson. I have been a personal coach, personal trainer, but in those 45 years, I have met so many people, successful and very influential. But one thing I've noticed that they have in common was they struggled with letting stress get the better part of them. And it didn't matter how much money they made, the stress was there because they didn't know how to control the stress. They allowed what most people do, and what I did for many years, I allowed that stress to control me. In the next 40 minutes, we're going to really get into my life and the strategies that I've been teaching people for years, how to actually combat stress. And I'm not talking about the good stress. The good stress is, you stress your wife, she's having a baby, right? And you're getting stressed out about getting her to the hospital and those kind of things. Or your son or your daughter's getting married, right? Well, those are good stresses. I'm talking about the bad stress, the stress that causes people to act irrational, the stress that causes people to get irritated, the stress that causes people to get physical sometimes, whether it be road rage or whether it be getting mad at a flight attendant, or they get the wrong drink at the local fast food restaurant and they're throwing their drink on the clerk, or they're pulling out a gun or they're pulling out a knife, or the husband and wife that are having an argument. And sometimes these arguments get violent, right? But they're all based on a person's ability to handle stress. You look at law enforcement as a career, right? I used to think it would be a great career, and I still think it is. But if you look at how many people every year commit suicide that are in law enforcement, because people are dealing with the stress. They don't know how to deal with the stress and all the pressures of that job. Well, there is a way to deal with that stress, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to take a deep dive into that. When I think about it, let's say maybe 40 years ago, maybe even longer than that, I dealt with stress in a different way. I would let stress consume me. I don't know if that's you, but I would get so upset with people that I'd go to bed thinking about them, thinking about how I could get back at them, thinking how mad they made me. It could be the simplest thing as somebody taking a spot in a parking lot. But you know what? When a guy's going off on you and all you did was you happened to just beat him there at the parking spot and he acts like he wants to fight you, that could aggravate a lot of people, right? But it only aggravates us because we don't know how to handle that stress. You know how they say you flight or fight, that type of thing? Well, often in my mind, I was ready to fight over really silly things. In fact, most of the problems that I had when I was young and as my adult life, as I got older, were based on stress. And if I got stressed out, I would go do weird things. Some people drink, other people do other things, right? I think we all have our issues, and you know what yours is, and I know what mine is, but I would let stress really control me. I was a slave to that stress, in the sense that somebody could say something to me and it would just pull me in a different direction. I'd be mad. I'd be peed off, right? And I remember, I think maybe I was 25 or something, I took a knife and I slashed somebody's tires because I was so upset over their words. And here's the reality. If we allow somebody's words or their actions to get us that angry, they're in fact controlling us. So they really are, controlling us now, because now we're doing things that we would never have thought of doing. Is that you? Or do you find that days are just easy? Or do you find yourself, like I was, allowing somebody to destroy your day? You wake up in the morning, you say it's a great day, and by 11 o'clock in the afternoon, when you just got in an argument with one of your fellow co-workers, you've declared it's a bad day. Well, it was good. Or somebody calls you and you get really short, with the person, and you go, leave me alone. And you're saying that to them because you're holding on to that baggage from that prior argument with somebody else. I think it's horrible. When I go to bed at night now, I sleep really good. And, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer a while back. I went through radiation and I got victory in that, and praise God for that, right? But there's so many things like that. Losing the sight in my right eye. There are so many things that can pull a person down if we allow it to. The key is to learn how to not allow those things to affect you. That's what we're going to get into next. If you want to have days where they're just what I call great days, where every day is a great day, then you need to start working on what I call it's almost like it's an automatic mind shift. And you do that mind shift by learning how to focus your mind, focus your words, and focus your actions. Let me say it again. You focus your mind, that's right. You focus your words, and you focus your actions. And when you focus all three of those, now that puts you in a position of power where you can actually start controlling those things that used to control you. But that's really the first step, is to increase your focus in all those areas. What you think, what you say, and what you do. At this time, I would ask you to take just a sheet of paper out. I just want you to write down a list of, and I have different categories, but I want you to write down a list of anything that causes you to get upset. Categories could be home, your work, your job, outside pressures, maybe it's the environment. So you got your work, you got home, you got the environment, personal life, whatever it is that, triggers that gets you upset. Make a list of them. Make a list of those things that it is. Is it the driver that's driving around erratically? I want you to make a complete list. Then I want you to write down how those things affect you. In other words, when somebody really gets you upset, how does it affect you? What do you do? How do you react to it? Make a complete list, because it's so important that we have a list of how we respond, so that the next time that happens, we don't have to respond that way. And how are we going to be able to do it? Because we're going to be more focused. That's why I talked about the importance of focusing your mind, focusing your action, and focusing your words. So when those outside triggers come up, and you're going to know what they are, and you're going to realize that if you act like you used to, that now you have become a slave to those words, or a slave to that person's actions. You hearing me? All right, because it's so important that you really listen to this, because that's what I was. I was a slave to somebody's words. I could easily have been angered. I could have easily been upset. Now, here's an example. When I found out that I had prostate cancer, I could have went into a funky state of mind, right? Some people do. The reality is this: getting negative has never helped anybody. It's not going to help you, my friend. All you can do is be positive. As you start thinking of things that are pure, things that are just, the Bible talks about those, okay? Think of things that are lovely, things that, if there be any praise, think of those things. But whenever we think of things that are negative, that's self-defeating. You want to lift yourself up? I think you do. You want to make the changes that are necessary to have a great life, which I have now. And it's not based on my success on my job. It's based on the fact that I don't have bad days anymore, because I don't let the stressors of life pull me down. And I want that to be what happens with you. If you're listening to this webinar right now, again, remember, feel free to make a comment in the chat line. If I don't get back with you right away, I will get back with you by email, if not through the chat system. But write down those triggers, exactly how they affect you right now. It's so important, if you want to take control over this, to do so. Now, after you've dealt with these triggers and you recognize these triggers, the next step is to deal with what I call catch and release. So a person says, okay, now you recognize those triggers. What do you do with them? You catch it and release it. So catching basically means, my friend, whatever is coming your way, you acknowledge, is there any value in that? And generally speaking, there's no value in something that's coming at you that's not of positive nature. So you just let it go, catch and release. You're going to find that the majority of things that you encounter, there's not going to be any value in those things. There's value in the good stress. Like I said, if your wife's pregnant or somebody's graduating. But there's no value in the negative. So you're going to catch that like if you're fishing. You catch the fish, you release it. You acknowledge what it is, then you let it go. Acknowledge it, that's catch and release. That's huge. Catch and release has made a huge impact in my life. On the screen, you're gonna see a picture of a friend of mine that had a near-death experience, and I want you just to read the comment of what he made about something that he learned in one of the books that I had written called Activate Your Inner Shark, and how it changed his life because he looked at things differently now. You have to have an attitude of gratitude, right? And when you learn to catch and release those things, you're no longer pulled down by the things that used to pull you down. Make sense? All right. Now we're going to talk about the after effects. What are after effects? You got in an argument with somebody. If you didn't catch and release, you have a bad after effect generally. That after effect is you being angry at that person. You're mad, you're upset, and maybe you have my friend, maybe you have a sales job, or maybe you're just home with the kids, right? And you just got in an argument with somebody, and you're angry at this person, and you put the phone down, and your kids come in and they run through the living room, and you start yelling at them. I told you not to run through the house. And you're more angered towards your kids, right? Well, you're not really angry at your kids. That's the after effect of you not dealing with the person that you were just talking to over the phone. That's why the catch and release is so important. Because you get it, you stop it right when it starts. The trigger sends a message to your brain. This is a trigger. This is something that you don't like. But now you know the mature way of handling it. You're handling it in a positive manner. So now you can have that discussion and get off the phone and not be angered. And your kids are running through the living room. You say, Tommy, slow down. You know you're not supposed to be running through the living room. But it's totally different now because you're not bringing your garbage back into the next relationship. This is important. Have you had a time in your life where you did that, where you took out that anger on somebody else? Comment about it in the chat line. It's important. Comment about it. I want to know your feelings. I want to know how you dealt with it. And I want to know after this course how you're going to deal with this too. This is a taste of what I give people when they really dive deeper into this, when they get into what I call my master class of stress and how to eliminate stress totally out of your life. See, I've developed what I call the ultimate stress eliminator. My course is not about managing stress. It's about eliminating stress out of your life. It's about you taking control. So, you're going to catch and release. You're going to be aware of the after effects because you don't want bad after effects. Now, the good after effects are you had a great conversation with somebody because you handled it right. And now you run into somebody, right, and you're happier. Why are you happier? Because you didn't allow those things to stress you out. My friends, I'll tell you, I have a son that hasn't spoken to me in 7 years, right? 7 or 8 years or more. Now, that could be something that could really pull me down. I have friends that are in the same position, and it's pulling them down. Now, you can't force anybody to talk to you, right? So do not allow those stressors of life to pull you down. What you do, you keep loving that individual. I still love my son, right? I will love him till the day that till I die, I will love him. But I'm not going to allow those things to drain me and pull me down. If it's not positive, let it go. Let me say it again. If it's not positive, let it go. See, I believe if people focus more on their reactions to the stressors in life as they do to making money, we'd have happier people in the world. Like I said, as a trainer of roughly about 44 years as a trainer, I've met a lot of successful people. Money doesn't make you happy. And everybody's striving to make that extra money, right? That extra money. But that doesn't make you happy. But Peace and joy does come when you learn not to allow the stressors in life to pull you down. Let me do a recap on this. So, you want to write down your triggers. You made that list, what bothers you, and then you want to go through and you want to work on, like I said, focusing your mind, focusing your words, focusing your actions. And again, when you focus your mind, you're thinking on things that are positive, right? Things that are good report, things that are beneficial. When you focus your words, you're speaking things that are positive. You're letting go of the negative thought patterns and the negative speech patterns, and you speak positively about your situations. And when you focus your actions, you're doing things that benefit your body physically, mentally, and spiritually. And when you do these things, my friend, when you put them all together, it's like night and day. And like I said, in this webinar, obviously, I couldn't go through my whole program, but I wanted to give you something, honestly, that I feel that will actually serve you well, will actually help you to get a grip on those things that had been controlling you. You want to be brain-driven, not anger-driven. Let me say that again. We want to be brain-driven, not anger-driven. I'm Ron Henderson, and I want to thank you for tuning into this webinar. I hope that has served you well, and for listening to this whole program. I'm leaving you a free PDF, a free download of things that I believe will help reinforce some of the things that I've talked to you about. And if you feel like going a little further, I even have a program that you can get online, and it's only discounted for people that have actually watched this webinar. And all that you do, I want you to stay fit, stay healthy, stay blessed, and my friends, stay stress-free. You can do it. You can change the quality of your life today by making the changes in how you deal with the stressors in your life. Have a good day. Stay fit, stay blessed, my friend.